All right, well, we are going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our latest edition of the Inside Track webinar series, Security 101 with Crossbeam's very own Chief Information Security Officer, Chris Castaldo. We are so thrilled to have Chris join us here today to shed light on some of the most common security questions we get from customers like yourself. And if you didn't know, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we just can't help but latch onto a really good theme. So definitely apropos to just get around the proverbial fire and talk about this important topic. Some quick housekeeping items before we hop in. This webinar will be recorded, so you will have that following the meeting. And if you would like to ask questions, you can use the question module in your GoToWebinar panel. Feel free to drop in questions there, and we will try to answer your questions live throughout the discussion. We have some help behind the scenes, Jasmine, our product marketing manager, who will be answering questions, floating them our way, and will be sharing some super helpful resources, so be sure to check out the panel for those as well. All right, so now we're just going to do a quick round of introductions. Hello again, I'm Amanda Groves, Head of Product Marketing here at Crossbeam, based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I will let my co-host here introduce himself and share a bit about his background. Chris?
Yeah, thank you. So as Amanda mentioned, I'm the CISO here at Crossbeam. I've been in cybersecurity a little over 20 years now. I started on like the cool side that everyone equates to cybersecurity, doing pen testing and red teaming. I spent about 10 years at the National Security Agency, defending our country from very advanced attackers. And now I build cybersecurity programs at startups. And in addition to my day job at Crossbeam, I'm also a visiting fellow at the National Security Institute at George Mason University, Anton Scalia Law School, which is a mouthful.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, Chris, and we're just so lucky to have you here at Crossbeam. Okay, so just to get started on what we're going to cover here today, we have a high-level overview of Crossbeam's security stance, and then we're going to go over some of the most common questions that have been shared, like what happens when you connect a CRM into Crossbeam, and we're going to share some common sharing settings in Crossbeam, and then we'll wrap things up with a little overview of the security resources we have to get a sense of how the flow will be. It's going to be a pretty casual conversation, and we'll just be walking through these things pretty fluidly. So let's just dive right in. Chris, at a high level, can you just walk us through Crossbeam's security stance?
Yep, so right on our website, we actually have our Crossbeam values posted. And the very first one, which is what attracted me to join Crossbeam, is trust is our business. And without trust, it's very difficult to have security and privacy. So that's really baked into every part of our organization, everything we do, our product. And looking at it from the outside, right, transparency is also really critical. So we have a lot of things that are available to customers, prospects, anyone really that wants to know what our position is, what our maturity is. So things like security certifications and audits like SOC 2, which we'll talk a little more about later on. But it's really having that transparency for new customers and existing ones to access that at any time, and your security teams to be able to access that, which are asking those questions that we'll be addressing today.
Amazing. Yeah, one of those big questions that I'm sure you hear a lot is, if I connect my CRM, I'm a Crossbeam user getting in there for the first time, will my partners see all of my data? What does that look like?
So the easy answer is no. The thing about Crossbeam is it's a privacy first organization and tool, right? So when you sign up for Crossbeam, you connect your CRM, nothing is actually shared from the start. You have to go in and change those settings and do that proactively. So by default, nothing is shared, which is, again, one of the great parts about data security. Makes it much easier when you have those controls from the start, not trying to bolt it on later.
Super comforting to know. Kind of on those same lines, this is a hot button topic for our customers. What is the situation on PII? Can you tell us what that is? And as a Crossbeam user, do I need to sync PII with Crossbeam?
So again, easy answer, no. So PII, personally identifiable information, that might be something like a first name, a last name, and an email address. Those things combined to become PII. Again, the beauty of the Crossbeam platform, to get full value out of it, you don't even need to sync that data. Many of our customers do, depending on how their partnerships work. But to get full value, all you need to share is the account name. So you don't even need to share maybe what might be more sensitive information from your organization. Again, making your security teams happy, your legal teams happy. So yeah, that's an easy answer of also no.
Give me all these easy answers in such a complex area. I guess that's why you're the CISO, so appreciated that. I guess this is a pretty nice segue into just giving you, the audience, a sense of what sharing settings look like once you're in Crossbeam. So one of the biggest differentiators of Crossbeam is, like Chris has alluded to, surrounding our just strong presence in security and data governance. We've made the system extremely secure and customizable, so you can truly share as little or as much as you'd like with partners. And we think about that in three main security buckets. So our sharing defaults, which is at the highest level, then one level deeper, sharing settings by partner, and then even one level deeper, if you want to get really granular, your population-specific settings by partner. We also, just worth mentioning, if you've not been in the system yet, that we have a few out-of-the-box roles, our admin role and partner managers. Admins can decide who has access to what, and by default, partner manager roles allow for manipulation of sharing settings. The admin, of course, can change that. And you can also make a custom role, so you can kind of play around with your options in the system, but just worth noting as you think about how you're setting up your team and how you want your team to have access to sharing settings and data sources to build out your populations. So looking at the first bucket again, this is the highest level of your population settings. It's your sharing defaults. And the use case here is really for organizations that want to set up the broadest level of functionality for sharing populations with partners. And we think about the sharing defaults in these three buckets. Hidden, which is what it sounds like. It's nothing is shown, absolutely nothing. Your partners do not even know that this item exists in your Crossbeam instance. The next one is by overlap count. So this is where you begin to show a little bit of your overlaps, but it's only shown by like a numerical value. So say, for example, I am working with a partner, Bazala, and I want to share my mutual customer overlaps. I can decide to do that, and they can see whether I have 5 or 100. If I have a big customer count, that may be a compelling reason for me to share a little bit more about what that value looks like. And that leads to the next sharing bucket, which is sharing data. And in this setting, you can share as little or as much as you'd like. And you can configure that, and you can see kind of how this is flowing in the animated GIF using the fields that you've brought in, whether it's by CRM, CSV, or Google Sheet, which is one of our newest data sources. So if you have an account or opportunity data or contact or a website, you can toggle on or off what you would like to share. And again, like super customizable, and decide on the fly how you would like to treat that. The next one is one level down. So you're sharing settings by specific partner. So in this example, it's showing my partner Bazala. Again, if you want to get into that sharing setting, you're going into your partners page and then drilling into the sharing setting here. So within your individual partner, you can customize exactly what populations you want to share. So in this example, you can see I've hidden fintech, industry, and lever customers. It's just not relevant for me to be showing Bazala those populations. If I did, it'd be a little bit more of a distraction factor. I want to keep them really focused on the populations that matter most to our partnership. So they're seeing some custom customers, new pipeline, and open opportunities. I think this is a really important area if you want to narrow and focus on certain populations with your partner, and it's been really helpful for a lot of our customers to take advantage of. The next one is even more granular. If you want to update your sharing settings within a specific partner with a population specific sharing setting. So again, a granular use case where you can set it potentially for strategic program initiatives. For example, if I only want to show when a prospect overlaps with a customer, I can set up a trigger this way so that the partner is only seeing exactly what I want to do in this unique instance of our overlaps. And to do this, you can see it's in the same area of your partner tile. You're just going into the sharing settings and then add an override. So you can update that as you'd like within that setting. So I think, we've been talking about a lot of the sharing settings and our security stance. So Chris, it would be really helpful if you could share a little bit more about where our audience can learn more about Crossbeam security.
Absolutely. So like I mentioned and alluded to earlier, we're extremely transparent. I'd say one of the most transparent organizations when it comes to our internal security controls. So there's two places right on our website, just going to crossbeam.com. But if you go to security.crossbeam.com, this is actually granular views into our security controls, how the platform is protected, how your data is protected. This is something your security teams will probably love to see, your legal team would like to see. If you're a customer, if you're not a customer yet, this gives them everything that they're looking for when they're looking at a vendor, and makes it all self-service. So they can go in there and download, let's say, our latest SOC 2 audit report. We get those done every year. We have since the founding of the company. So this will be going into our 5th year of being SOC 2 compliant. We have our latest penetration test reports, again, something your security teams will want to take a look at. We actually go above and beyond the industry standard of once a year. We do them quarterly, so 4 to 5 times a year. We'll do one-off ones for maybe big feature releases, all again, downloadable, accessible by your teams. And as you can see in that animation, when it gets back to the top there is a button that says subscribe. So this allows your security and legal teams to get notified when there's an update, when we've uploaded our new audit report, a new pen test. So they don't need to remember to say, oh, I need to go check Crossbeam security, part of our annual review. It's all there, accessible to them at any time. And I kind of view this as a, your digital curb appeal, right? You drive by a house, buying a house, you see the grass is tall, windows might be broken, but it looks, you go to the next house and really well maintained, you can kind of assume the inside is about the same. I think it's really important to show this stuff right up front and make it as easy as possible for both you as the customer and your internal teams that have all these questions.
Super helpful, and I'm also very glad you pointed out that subscribe feature. Definitely subscribe to the security portal so you can get the latest security updates delivered right to your inbox, and of course share with your legal security team. So helpful. Can you walk us through I know you mentioned some of these, just more security details that would be helpful for our audience to know about?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're looking at these types of tools and platforms, it's really important to look for these security controls, that they have these checks and balances in place. So for example, our SOC 2 that we do every year, we use a very large, well-known firm called Align. They do hundreds, if not thousands, of SOC 2 audits every year. It's really important to look at the size of the auditor, right? Are they really well versed in cybersecurity controls, cloud controls, looking at penetration tests? Again, we do them 4 times a year instead of once a year. And then we also have all of our terms available right on the website, our privacy policy, our DPA, everything your security and legal teams will look for when using software like this.
Amazing, so helpful. I think we did get a few questions throughout the webinar, so I just want to float them your way. One of them, Chris, is the data encrypted and how do you protect it?
Yep, absolutely. So it's two things your teams will ask about. Is it encrypted in transit and at rest? So that means going from your system to our system in transit. Yep, absolutely encrypted. We support the highest level of transport layer security, which is the technical control around that. We also encrypt everything at rest as well. So when it's written to our database, the underlying part of the application. So both of those controls are in place. And that's regardless of the information you sync, right? Earlier, we talked about you don't need to sync PII. If you choose to do that, we have the same level of controls for that data regardless.
Okay, super helpful. I am learning so much today. Thank you so much. Another one that came through, I think it was when we were talking about connecting our CRMs. So when a user connects their CRM, where actually is the data located?
So we are hosted in AWS, which is the cloud provider, and physically that data is in Northern Virginia. It's typically referred to as AWS East 1. Again, probably a question you will get from your security teams who always want to know where the data is going, but that is physically where it is located.
Okay, super helpful to know. And this one came in from one of our newest users. So Crossbeam is free. Does that mean you're selling our data? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Another easy one. The answer is no. It's very clearly written in our terms, which we add there in the resources, which will be sent out after the webinar. But no, we do not sell your data.
Okay. Well, that is all the questions that we got, and that is what we had prepared to run through. So it brings us to the end. So I just want to thank you, Chris, again, for taking some time to hang out with me and the rest of our audience on this webinar. So helpful. It's just such an important topic, so I'm glad we're shedding the light on this and answering these really important questions. So I guess for our audience, if you just took if you can just take away a few things from this conversation, if you are in Crossbeam, I encourage you to just explore the controls that we went through for your sharing settings today. Again, you can customize as much or as little as you'd like, as you'd want to share with your partners. Check out the security resources that Chris shared, our security portal, subscribe so you can get insights right to your door, your door, I guess. Your door is an open door to your email. And then also we will be, like Chris said, sharing an email with this recording once we've wrapped, and also the resources that were shared today. So be on the lookout for that. And we've also added a little survey at the end of this webinar. So if you could just take a few minutes, I believe it's about 4 questions, just to understand, was this helpful? What else do you want to learn about? We definitely want to make this content curated for exactly what will help you grow in Crossbeam and in your career. So please be on the lookout for that. And yeah, that's all that we had. Thank you again. Thank you, Chris. And we will see you all next time.
Thank you.